The refugee station orbiting Kepler-442b was a monument to desperation. Thousands of beings from a dozen species crowded into corridors designed for hundreds, all fleeing the sovereignty's relentless expansion across the sector. The air recyclers struggled against the overwhelming demand, creating a perpetual haze that smelled of fear and unwashed bodies. Leo pressed himself against the cold metal wall as a group of Cravathi merchants shoved past, their crystalline exoskeletons clicking with each movement. He clutched his meal voucher like a lifeline because that's exactly what it was. The human relief workers distributed only one per day, and Leo had already traded yesterday's voucher to repair his sister's oxygen regulator. Anna's voice cut through the din. She appeared through the crowd, her 10-year-old face streaked with grime but her eyes still bright with the stubborn hope that seemed uniquely human. I found a transport manifest. There's a colony ship leaving for New Terra in 3 days. They're taking refugees. Anna, we've been through this. Leo guided her to a quieter corner near a malfunctioning atmospheric processor. We need citizenship papers or a sponsor. We have neither. But we'll figure something out. We always do. He forced a smile and held up his meal voucher. Come on, let's get something to eat before the dispensary runs out of the good stuff. The dispensary was located in what used to be a cargo bay. Long lines of various species snaked toward automated food processors, each programmed to accommodate different biological requirements. The Vexians needed high-sulfur compounds. The Oranthi required liquid nutrients. Humans, thankfully, could eat almost anything. Organic. Leo and Anna had just received their portions of grayish protein paste that tasted better than it looked when Leo heard it. Double quotes, please. Someone. Please. The voice was small, desperate, and came from something that looked like a cross between a moth and a child. The Zilnari girl couldn't have been more than 7 in human years. Her downy wings drooping with exhaustion, she held a battered Teddy Berkeley human made in her for delicate hands. Orchestrated emotional narrative showcasing human compassion. Amid desperation, I'm writing a compelling HFY story. The setup is good. We have the desperate refugee situation. Human siblings, Leo and Anna, and now a Zilnari alien child who's about to make the plea from the title. Let me continue building this emotional scene while showcasing human compassion. Trade your meal for my teddy bear, human, she begged, her multifaceted eyes glistening. My brother hasn't eaten in days. The dispensary fell silent. Other species watched with curiosity but not concern. The galaxy had learned long ago that survival meant looking after your own. Charity was a luxury reserved for the strong. Leo looked at the teddy bear. It was worn, one button eye missing, stuffing protruding from a torn seam, worth nothing to anyone except, apparently, this desperate child. Leo, no, Anna whispered, grabbing his arm. We need this. You haven't eaten since. Where's your brother? Leo asked the Zilnari girl. She pointed to a corner where a smaller Zilnari child lay curled on the floor, his wings gray and dull. Leo had seen that color before. It was the beginning of starvation shutdown. The body's desperate attempt to conserve energy. Leo handed over his meal voucher without hesitation. What are you doing? A Vexian merchant nearby laughed, his translator rendering his amusement as a harsh bark. Stupid human, that bear is worthless. You just traded your survival for sentiment. But Leo wasn't listening. He was watching the Zilnari girl's wings flutter with something that looked like hope as she rushed to the dispensary. Anna stared at her brother. Leo, it's okay Anna, you eat. No. Anna broke her protein paste in half and handed him a portion. We share. That's what humans do, right? The Vexian merchant's laugh died in his throat. Over the next 2 days, something strange happened. The Zilnari girl returned with her brother who was recovering, but she didn't come alone. She brought her mother who worked in the station's water reclamation facility. The mother had heard what Leo did. Humans are strange, she said in halting standard. In my world we're taught that kindness is weakness. But you fed my son when you had nothing. That's not weakness. She handed Leo a data chip. A Terran colony ship captain owes me a favor. These are 2 boarding passes. For you and your sister. Leo stared at the chip, speechless. Word spread, as word does in confined spaces. The human who traded his meal for a worthless teddy bear. The story reached a Cravathi merchant who'd initially laughed at Leo's stupidity. That merchant had a warehouse of supplies he'd been hoarding to inflate prices. He donated half to the refugee center. An Oranthi engineer heard the story and fixed the atmospheric processes for free. If humans can be generous with nothing, she said, I can be generous with skills. By the time the colony ship arrived, the refugee station had transformed. Not completely. Desperation still lurked in corners, but something had shifted. Species that had ignored each other began sharing resources. The word human became associated with something the galaxy had nearly forgotten: compassion without calculation. On the day of departure, the Zilnari girl found Leo and Anna as they boarded. She still had the teddy bear. "Keep it," Leo said. "He's yours now." "No." She pressed it into Anna's hands. "Where I come from, we have a saying: the gift remembers. This bear will remind us both. You reminded us what we can be." As the colony ship pulled away from the station, Anna clutched the teddy bear and looked at her brother. "Did we really change anything?" Leo gazed out the viewport at the station, growing smaller against the stars. In a cargo bay somewhere inside, species that had been strangers were now sharing meals. In corridors once filled with suspicion, beings were helping one another. "Maybe," he said, "but that's what humans do. Anna, we remind the galaxy that survival isn't just about living, it's about what we're living for." The teddy bear, battered and worn, sat between them as new terror grew larger in the distance. Reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of humanity could echo across the stars.